It's your boy ConstantViz34, and we're gonna go behind the song number 41. So number 41 is one of my favorite Dave Matthews Band songs of all time. If they played it at every single show, I would be happy. I would sing along to it and enjoy the jams. I like the older versions. I like the newer versions. I like the versions in the middle. I like Dave and Tim when they do it. I like Dave when he does it by himself. It is an amazing song. When the Fleck tones are on there, it's gonna be lit. If Victor Woodwin's by himself on there, Bella Fleck is by himself on there, the song is still gonna be lit. Now this is a song that for me personally took a while to get. Let me break down the first 6 shows of my career where I didn't get 41 and I was frustrated. My first show ever, May 25th, 2012, I got a Stone opener, which I was ecstatic about. I got a Mansfield jam where they were singing the lyrics of Do You Remember over and over again, kind of giving us a preview of what that song would be. I got a Spaceman with Stanley Jordan. I got a Blackjack, which was rare at that time and still is overall a rare song, in one of 4 Grannies for that tour. The next day, my friend says, "Hey, you want to come back?" I'm like, "Nah, I don't have. I've just got a new job. I'm a broke, just out of college student. I can't go." Guess what they play the next night? Number 41. It's one of the most legendary shows that Copperpot has on YouTube. It's got tons of views. I regret not going to that show because I missed 41 by 1 show. I said I'm never missing a Hartford show within my control again. To this day, in 2022, I have never missed a Hartford show. Then we go to the winter tour, which I say I want to see 41. So I go to Mohegan Sun. They give us, Stefan that is, gives a people tease. It's so subtle you have to turn your headphones up. But I get a people tease. We get Ehe, we get a fish tender, we get the riff and Drunken Soldier in the only typical situation of the tour, and also we get Christmas song. These are all rare songs I got, but still no number 41. And the next night in Boston, guess what they play? Number 41, and guess what? Your boy was not there. I say, okay, 2012, it is what it is. I'm gonna go to as many shows as I can in 2013. So I go to Hartford Night 1, June 7th, 2013. I get a number 34 on the 12 string into JTR for the 34th Hartford show ever. I get a Captain, I get a Broken Things, I get a fish tender for the 2nd consecutive show that I had gone to. Right, I got it last year in winter of 2012, and I get it in 2013 first shot. I get a Running Down the Dream full band debut. I get a Dreaming Tree and a Rhyme and Reason, both with the legendary Stanley Jordan. No number 41. I say, cool, I'm going to Hartford Night 2. They always play it at Hartford, one of the 2 shows. Nope, I got a Spoon, I got the riff, amazing, right? I got a Best of What's Around. And recently, they had a Blue Water partial into 2-step. No number 41. I say, cool, I'm going to Mansfield the following week. That was the next stop on the tour because they took a little bit of that whole week off. And they come back to Mansfield on Saturday. I get a Captain again for the 2nd time in 3 shows. Rare song, blessed to get it. True Reflections, the last full band True Reflections with Boyd singing. I get a 2-step for the 2nd consecutive show in a row. Still no number 41. The next show is on Father's Day in Mansfield on a Sunday. I'm like, well, they're probably going to do all their big things on Saturday, and I want to go chill with my father and grandfather. Well, I was wrong to miss that show because Victor Wu and guest on number 41 on Father's Day on June 16th, 2013. I was frustrated at this point. I wanted to get 41. So in Mansfield 2014, 6/7/2014, a year from that legendary Hartford Night 1 of 2013, I'm back at a venue seeing Dave, and the lovely ladies show up for the first time in ages. We get a Mansfield jam. We get a long, some like a number 36 kind of like feel. still know number 41. And finally, I get number 41 on July 11th, 2014. I was ecstatic. This song is just amazing. It is the example of why jazzy DMB is the best DMB. The solos from Leroy Moore are amazing, and when Leroy was on the flute for this song, it's about to go down. So what is number 41 to me? I mean, to me, I would say it's that song. Without a doubt, if I have to pick one song, I'm picking number 41. It's a song that I can play with someone who likes that jazzy type of feel, or someone who doesn't really like the main hits of DMB. I say, here's number 41. It's not like Ants Marching. It's not a love song like Crash. It's a heartbreak song, but not a love song per se. And it's groovy. It's funky. Carter is doing amazing things on it. Stefan's bass lines are dope, right? We've had Tim Reynolds hop on this, and it's amazing. But number 41 is the ultimate Dave Matthews Band song. It's what this band does at its best, which is this jazzy, funky song. And you also have these lyrics of heartbreak and pain in real life, not this, easy breezy, beautiful crash into me cover girl type song. This is DMB at its best. Jazz and lyrics that talk about pain and tough times, but they make it awesome. So that is your boy's view on number 41, Behind. It's your boy, Concert Biz 34. Shout out to everyone who survived the snowstorm in the Northeast. Thoughts and prayers to my Florida brothers and sisters in the 40s in Central Florida. Shame on the haters talking bad about Tom Brady when they thought he was going to retire. So we got a great show for you guys tonight. Thank you guys for tuning in. It's a Saturday night, and it's all right for fighting, but we're not going to fight tonight. We're going to have a great discussion. I'm going to get to some topics here for you. If this is your first time joining, thank you guys for tuning in. For those of you guys who have been with me, I appreciate you and everyone in between. So we're going to talk about 41 real quick and how to vote for your favorite version, the best version of 41, but you're going to be given some choices. Brianna, aka DMB, Brianna 10, did some different things and interactions over the last half of the week, and came to select a couple of different versions of number 41 that we're going to look at here. And so we'll talk about that. We're going to talk briefly about the Neil Young situation, and hey, will Dave do the same thing? We're going to talk about Dave and Tim in Bridgeport, and then we're going to give you at the end some Dave Matthews Band tour updates for what's going on with the tour. Just got some new information in here about the tour, just about some rumored stuff. So we'll get to that. And like I said, I hope everyone's doing well. We got snow here in Connecticut, and I think we only got about 4 to 6 inches where I am. It was supposed to be more, but other places did get 2 feet of snow in Connecticut at the shoreline. I know some of you guys are out there in the shoreline, Rhode Island. Some of you guys out in Rhode Island, like Matt Souden. I know you're down in Rhode Island. You guys got hit hard. So I hope you guys are doing well. The thing, if you don't live in the Northeast, it snows here, and it can snow pretty crazy. Sometimes the power goes out. The ice, if anything, is worse. And that's why when you guys in Atlanta and sometimes in Nashville and Charlotte get that ice, it's worse than what we get. When it snows here, you stay home. As long as the power doesn't go out, you're good. And even if it does, we know how to bundle up in blankets, get a fireplace going. And we also don't have mountain passes. Those of you who live out west Colorado, I know Ron is out in Colorado, and even in Washington State, you guys, your highways, because they're mountains and because that you guys can get more high elevation snow, it's more dangerous where you guys are. Because here in Connecticut, we have certain hills. New England, same thing. New Hampshire, unless you're in the northern parts of Vermont, New Hampshire, a lot of it is just hills and turns. Like we have a lot of curves on the highway, but we don't really have a lot of like, whiteout conditions, like where we have a flat plains or we have mountainous areas that just get crazy shut down for a day or two. Our highways are back up within a couple, 12 hours. Anyway, so number 41, if you guys aren't following DMB Brianna, follow her. And her page is public. So there's 3 versions of number 41. We talked about this on Wednesday. She narrowed it down to 3. 4/20/2002. That is the 30-minute number 41 from Ottawa. Actually, it's 32 minutes. There's listener supported. That is the one with the best sax solo, in my opinion, of Leroy Moore. Even though there's no guest like the Flecktones, Roy just does his thing, and the band was on fire that night. And then we have live tracks 1. This is with Bella Fleck and the Flecktones. And at this point, Jeff Coffin was a part of Bella Fleck and the Flecktones and is playing here. Now, this is in 98. Jeff had been playing number 41 for about a year with DMB because he was on the 97 tour. And Hartford was his first performance of 41 with the band. The Flecktones in general also did a New Year. They had played number 41 before that for New Year's Eve, 96 and 97. Jeff was not there yet with the Flecktones. But that is Live Tracks Volume 1 in Worcester, Massachusetts at the Worcester Centurium. It's now, believe, last I checked, it was a DCU Center. So you can vote for those 3. The first one, again, that's going to be your one where you just have the all-out 32-minute jam. The second one's going to have that sexy sax solo. And the third one is essentially the Flecktones are on that, but it's more of a condensed version of the first one. So the first one, 32 minutes is a long time. There's a 20-minute 41 Live Tracks Volume 1, and that is the one that's going to give you more quality than quantity. So let me know what you guys think. And actually, let Brianna know what you think. Forget about me. Let Brianna know what you think. Again, go to her page, DMB Brianna 10. The rules: 1 vote per person. If you list them in order, the first one will be counted. The vote must be here in this post to be counted. Voting ends tomorrow at 5 p.m. Pacific time. That is 8 o'clock. That's 8 o'clock Eastern time. So check it out. Oh, and the studio version. Sorry, I missed this. The studio version. The studio version has an element of special feelings of like Lily White at his best that the live versions can't really capture. So if you're going for just the overall like production value of Lily White and the band at that time, Tim playing a clean guitar. Lily White didn't want any distortion in this. And I think that's an important thing about this. This is what makes it jazzy. Lily White did not want any distortion in that studio version. And that's really what makes the studio version really special, is if it was more electric guitar with a little bit of distortion or overdrive or whatever what have you, I think it would impact how it sounds in the studio. The studio is crisp and clean and jazzy because of what Lily White put together. He had a playbook, and the band executed an amazing 2 minute drill, or I guess you would say about a 6 minute drill for there. So there you have it. That is for number 41. Make sure you guys vote for that. And next, what I wanted to talk about was Neil Young's music is off of Spotify, and will Dave Matthews Band follow suit? So first and foremost, there's a lot of different opinions you can have about this, and I respect people's opinions even if I don't agree with it in this specific situation, right? So we have Joe Rogan on Spotify. He has a podcast. Neil Young says, "Hey, I don't like the guests you're bringing on about the specific virus that's going on, C19, we'll call it, just because of the algorithm. But this number 19, Charlie number 19, this virus is there's people. He's bringing on certain sides of this debate, and some people don't like that because they're saying, hey, the information these doctors and other people you're bringing on, it's one sided, and we think it's dangerous to spread this information to the public. Now, Spotify is like, well, look, he has the right to free speech, but the government and the people trying to push, people getting the the medication. We'll just call it medication for the algorithm. They're trying to get medicated and protected against the C19, the concert vids 19, and so obviously there's like Neil Young says, look, Spotify, you can either remove Joe Rogan or remove my music, and Spotify removed his music. They said, you're out of here. And now, first off, this is what you can have your own opinion about this, but looking at this from strictly the mindset of both parties, this is a win for both Neil Young and for Spotify, what they want executed. Neil Young has been a rebel his entire life, from calling out, and again, these are all different situations. You can agree or disagree. He's called out perceived racism. Hey, Amy, thank you for coming on. So Neil Young's called out racism in the South in 1970, I believe, 69 or 70. He writes, I think in 1970, he writes Southern. He releases Harvest Moon, and Southern Man is a song talking about, hey, the South, you guys need to really make things right for what you did to the African Americans and Native Americans. And, there's still evil going on. And at the time, that was true, right? I had family in the South in the 70s, right? And so he called out the South, and then, there was backlash there. He talked about the Kent State situation where somebody was, lost their life for protesting. Police took action and someone lost their life. I'll just say that again for the algorithm. And he's fought for farms. The American farmer, 75% of dairy farms since the 1970s have disappeared. 75% because of major conglomerations that have formed these big companies for dairy, for meat processing, for vegetables. These large corporate farms have taken out the small town farmer, and it's something that Neil Young has stood for. And now with the situation with the concert vids 19 demic, he believes that people should be, get the thing, right? Get the thing, and so that we can get back to normal. He's not touring until he feels it's safe to tour without people getting the concert vids 19. Okay. So Amy said he saw him at Farm Aid 2011. And I'll say I'm a huge fan of Neil Young. I saw him at Farm Aid 2018. I was sad not to see him in 2021, but he's standing by his words, right? He's talking what he's living. whether you agree or disagree. And that's really what it comes down to. Neil Young, this is not about the money. This is not about streams. It's about standing on what he believes. And I believe you can disagree with him and respect him. And I think more people should be able to do that cordially, but people are taking extremes one way or another. And Spotify, what they're saying is, look, it's free speech, and it's not. There's actually podcasts that are more vile and disgusting than Joe Rogan's podcast that you may, if this was on a mainstream channel, you'd be like, yo, that's what they're saying is a little edgy. That's not right. So there's other podcasters that are wilder than Joe Rogan. It's just, Neil Young doesn't like the certain subject matter about the concert vids 19 situation. And that's why he's protesting. So there's a lot of just Spotify is also the other thing you got to realize about Spotify, just real quick. Spotify is actually finding more revenue in podcasts than they are music. If you subscribe to Spotify Premium, you don't have any commercials for music. But guess what? When you listen to a podcast, even on Spotify Premium, there are commercials during the show because on the live podcast, Spotify has deals with certain people like Joe Rogan, DJ Academics, and they actually will read off an ad during the podcast, and that makes them money. So they get this premium person's account money, and they get the ad money that comes in for them for a podcast. Plus, they're only paying one person. They're not paying a record label, right? They're paying they work out a deal with Joe Rogan or DJ Academics, and they work out this deal that the record companies are much worse to work with and negotiate with than a person who's looking to have content. So will Dave Matthews Band do this? No, absolutely not, because unless RCA Records, which owns the rights to the music, decides to take a stance, and even if Dave was to, let's just say Dave felt a certain way about Joe Rogan in his podcast, and I'm sure he does. Him and Neil Young are pretty aligned on their opinions. Let's just say he is. Let's just say he's really upset about it. Dave is about his money. Dave is about making bread and not really shaking waves on this extreme. He's not as extreme as Mr. Young is on his stances. He'll say what he feels at a concert. He'll rally people on a political end. He'll do certain stuff for charity, and he's part of Farm Aid. He's part of planting trees in the environment, but he won't threaten to pull something just because someone's, something happens. And the case in point is this. In the state of Texas, there's legislation. Again, I want to be careful with the algorithm, but there was legislation involving reproduction rights in Texas. And Dave disagreed with the law that was passed in Texas. So he spoke out against this in a way, not to attack Texas directly, but say that women should have certain rights that weren't, and these rights were being impacted in Texas. He spoke out against it. Now, you would think based on that, if he was as extreme as Neil Young, he wouldn't even tour in Texas. And Neil Young can't really tour in the South because he got death threats and people were mad at him from the Southern Man song that painted the South in a certain way that some people said, hey, we're not all like that. We know we have a history, but we're not like that. And they kind of still were in the 70s. But so was the North. And I would love to have a conversation to Neil Young about that the North was, you go to Boston, like my dad moved from the Jim Crow South to Boston and face more racism in Boston. Anyway, I digress. I don't want to go there today. But, people don't like Neil in the South, and doesn't, he's selective on where he goes in the South to this day. He'll still play there, but it's selective because of that. So Dave could say, look, I'm not going to Texas. I don't agree with this voter situation in Georgia. There are certain voter laws that Dave, I'm sure he disagrees with the way he leans. But he's still playing in Georgia. He doesn't feel like he's going to punish fans in those states by not touring, even though there's certain things the local governments have passed. So I say that to say Dave is about his money more than Neil is. Neil has always said, my principles are override my profit or financial gain. And he lost the South by writing Southern Man. He's lost certain people by being very, very stubborn on what he believes in. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. That's his right to do. right? I don't want to go into that. And some people like him, some people don't. One thing we can't minimize is his impact on music. He is a legendary rock act. Neil Young and Crazy Horse. Neil Young with Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young. They are a vital part of rock music. You can't deny that. Whether you agree with him or disagree with him, there's been a lot of disrespect to Neil. You don't have to like his music, but you have to acknowledge he is a big part of the progression of rock and roll. And he's also been someone that's been charitable past political parties. He's been charitable to help farmers, to help other causes, the Bridge School, and to help people with disabilities and other needs. And I hope I'm phrasing that right. I don't want to offend anyone, but I hope that's the best. Those who have different needs, um, you know, for the Bridge School. So he has these passions and he has a heart of gold in helping others, but he also is he stands on certain things. And really a lot of musicians have very, very strong opinions on different things. And that's why their music is powerful because they feel strongly about things. That's all I'm going to put towards the Dave Matthews thing, but look in Spotify. But there's no way that it's going to be changed. RCA owns that. RCA wants the money from every streaming source, as streaming is really their main. It's a big revenue generator for these labels. So they're not. It's not happening that they're going to move that. So there we go. Next up on the list, Dave Matthews and Tim Reynolds going to be playing in Bridgeport, Connecticut. Check out the video. Check out the video. If you go on to my channel, I'm going to bring it up here. Check it out.
Boy, do it.
Yep, check it out.
Do it.
So I'm going to bring this up. YouTube Concert Viz 34. And that's my live video that you see right there. But this is the video. Check this out. You'll get a full look at this. Dave Matthews and Tim Reynolds, the headline Sound on Sound Music Festival. Thank you guys who tuned into that. But Dave and Tim, Sound on Sound, Sound on the Sound. You can check that out. Now, what I said in the video, just to kind of give you some things, but you can watch it for your entertainment purposes here. What I was happy about, I said earlier this year, hey, there's rumors they're going to do a festival in Connecticut. I said, look, I'd rather have a show, a standalone show than a festival. I was not happy about the full band playing in Connecticut. I'm happy that this is Dave and Tim. I'm happy that it's Dave and Tim because Dave and Tim is a more intriguing musical act at a festival for a Dave Matthews Band fan. When you go to a festival and it's the full Dave Matthews Band, they're going to play cookie cutter songs. Even the Jazz Fest show that they played, let me pull this up, for Jimmy Buffett. Let's look that up on the almanac. That's in 2017. Oh, that was Dave Matthews and Tim Reynolds. That was actually, yeah. So Dave and Tim. Let me pull up. I think it was. Now, I'll say this, like they played JTR in 2011, but like in the last Dave Matthews Band Jazz Fest New Orleans, or the last time they played was 2019. Let me pull that up. So let's pull up this set list, and you guys are gonna see this. But this set was trash. 2019, this set list is trash. What would you say Anyone seen the verse Too Much Warehouse, Bayou, That Goes You, Stand Up, Don't Drink the Water. You got a 41. That's probably the highlight. 41's probably the highlight. And Tripping Billies. Yeah, Warren Haynes hopped on for that. Now that Girl Is You did have Preservation Hall Jazz Band, that's cool, but it doesn't make or break a festival to me. But you have 41 and Tripping Billies. That's the highlights. Everything else is cookie cutter. Jimmy Thing, and you have Ants Marching. Oh, cool. Watchtower ends. And it's the modern day Watchtower, which is more rock based. This set list is very cookie cutter, right? And an appearance by Preservation Hall with That Girl Is You, which is better than the regular, still doesn't do it for me. I wouldn't fly to New Orleans. If someone said, here's a set list, go to Jazz Fest, I wouldn't go for DMB. Now, if Dead and Company, I believe Dead and Company played in 19, I would go see Dead and Company at Jazz Fest. I'm not going to see Dave Matthews Band at Jazz Fest if this is the set list I get. I get 14 songs, right? What's the timing? We don't have the timing for this, but it's probably just over, about an hour and a half of stuff. It's not worth it. So the thing is, though, let's look to 2017. First of all, when I go see Dave and Tim, I don't care about the set list. I am so caught up in the fact that I can hear Dave's guitar in a way that I can't hear it with the full band. I can hear everything Dave's guitar does. And I was listening to Dave's solo at Sweet Briar College in Virginia. This one of the mornings I went to go play pickup hockey. I was listening to it on Friday. And I was listening to it, and I was like, "This is awesome." I was listening to "Say Goodbye" and "Blue Water." It was a small Blue Water, and "Lie in Our Graves." And I believe he had a "What Will Become of Me." Where is Dave and Tim in New Orleans? Let's see if I can find it. In the NO. There we go. Like, here's the thing. It's Dave and Tim, right? So I hear a Crush, right? Awesome. I love hearing Crush. I even love hearing Satellite with this band. Warehouse, same thing. I get to hear Dave strumming. Dave does amazing things with his guitar, and you can appreciate it more with Dave and Tim. The Warehouse and his like acoustic percussiveness. Old Dirt Hill is awesome with Dave and Tim. I heard it at the Gorge. Dave and Tim played at the Gorge. It was awesome. So Dang Lucky, Jimmy Thing. Even Jimmy Thing is awesome because it's acoustic bass. I don't need to hear 45 minutes of Rashawn squealing. Rashawn, you are an awesome quarterback for this band. We don't want to hear 45 minutes of you squealing. Bruh, I love the musician you are. That's not what Dave Matthews Band is about. Okay. I know there are jazz bands. I know there are other avenues where that works. And I respect the heck out of Rashawn. I just don't like that squealing. Okay. This dude is a musical mastermind, but I lose my mind when you hit those high registers. You are not a flute. I used to play clarinet. You are not a clarinet. You are a trumpet player in a cool jazz Dave Matthews Band, not a, New Orleans, Mardi Gras, repping your crew in Mardi Gras going down the street. That's where you can do that. Okay. And that's fine if you do it there. I'd have a ball on Bourbon Street, right? And you hear the trumpet, like that's where you do it. You don't do it with Dave Matthews Band. All right. You have a two-step, funny the way it is, like it's awesome. Lie in Our Graves. A Pirate Looks at 40 with the legendary Jimmy Buffett. Cornbread. It's an awesome song. Tim gets his slide out on acoustic, not electric. Gray Street Ants Marching. What would you say? You can't go wrong. There's nothing that they can play unless they're going to play like Plastic Girl, right? and they do a 45-minute you and me. Samurai Cop, so much better acoustically, right? Mercy, so much better acoustically. Those are two songs I don't want to hear full band, which I'm fine with Dave and Tim. Don't Drink the Water. I know I'm kind of someone who most people like Don't Drink the Water live. I don't like the current post Roy version, full band. But Dave and Tim, I love it. So I'm excited for that. This is going to be a festival. I'll be down in Bridgeport tomorrow, chilling out there just for some things going on. And but I look forward to it, and I'm glad for my Southern Connecticut peoples. They're gonna get opportunities to drive, 5, 10 miles, 3, 4 miles to this event versus having to drive up to Hartford, which is an hour, um, through a rigorous part of 95, which in the summertime is packed. Everyone has to kind of go through Connecticut. If you're in Boston, you want to get to down south. If you're in New York and you want to get up to Cape Cod, you have to go through Connecticut, and it's that Hartford week. Even if it's early in the year, June, right, is when they typically have it. It's a lot for locals to get to because there's a lot of traffic going through, all the boat traffic, people getting their boat from Long Island to Cape Cod, or getting their boat from New Hampshire down to New York, or New Jersey, Wildwood, New Jersey for the summer. So it is what it is. But I love Dave and Tim, and I'll leave it at that. I'm excited for this. I love what the promoters are trying to do here for Connecticut, trying to bring a festival like this. And they're going to be having like a jam band type weekend to add on to this, the stuff that's going down in Bridgeport. And it's Sound on the Sound Festival. Let me pull that up here. There's a website on the Sound Festival. By the way, there's also a lot of, oh, my thing comes up when you look at Sound on the Sound. That's cool. Microsoft Bing is, it's amazing how much Google is better. I know some of you guys remember we had Ask Jeeves, we had Yahoo. Way back in the day, we used to ask Jeeves, Jeev. Yes, I believe it was. Sound on the Sound. They have a website. I'm just trying to look for it. Is it this? Oh, that's a form. I just saw it the other day. It really should. They need to advertise this to be higher up. Well, there's a site. There's a Facebook page. Let me see. Official website. But Sound on the Sound. Let's see. Maybe it's on here. I don't know. Just listen. You'll get it from here when stuff goes on sale. Follow me on Twitter, Constaviz34, and you'll get it there. All right. So I'm gonna do a little presentation for you guys. Gonna give you a tour update. And let's pull that up here. This would be a cool job if I could like give people updates on this. Anyone want to pay me to give you guys updates? I know you know why I do this? The reason, and share this video with your friends. I know, first of all, I don't have any kids. I work with kids on the weekends for 2 hours, and I know how time consuming that is. But I know you guys have life. You guys are busy. I'm busy too, but I work from home. I don't have any kids. I don't have a wife yet. I'm working on that. It's coming soon. Your boy. Anyway, but I know that it's hard to. Some of you guys don't have time to check the warehouse forms. or the ants marching forms. So this is why I make these videos. I bring it to you guys so you can know what's going on. Hey Ben, thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. And I know you're going to be excited about this Dave and Tim being in your part of Connecticut there, Southern Connecticut. So you guys are going to get an opportunity to just do a short drive out to Bridgeport. And so, yeah, this is really, I want to give you these updates. If you don't check Ants Marching, if you're on Ants Marching, you probably know some of this stuff. And there's actually something that will add to this that I just saw on the forums. Okay, so this is a beautiful picture of Moses Lake, Washington, where I've actually been here twice. 2019 and 2021, I've literally just sat out here. This is one of the most peaceful places I've been to ever. And I've been everywhere from Cape Town, South Africa, to New York City, to Houston, Texas. This is an awesome, just peaceful place. No humidity. I've been here. The temperature said like not 85 degrees, and it feels like 70 degrees because there's no humidity. Anyway, so what we have, we're gonna go month by month. So we have these projected. We have these projected tour dates. So May. This is now what can happen is this first date, May 13th, the Woodlands, Texas. There could be a show in Austin before this. There could be something in South Carolina. There's a rumor now that they may do some in Charleston, South Carolina, a double header at some point. I don't know if it's going to be Dave and Tim or both of them. This is not. I do not have a solid lead on this. Someone posted this on a rumors thread. They could be right again, and if you are the person, there's like one or two people. If they post this, I put like 100% merit because they are great at, like, when we look back at what they predicted, they're usually spot on. But May 13th is a Friday. So you could see the Wednesday is the 11th, Thursday is the 12th of May. Friday, May 13th is the projected first date that we think is going to happen. There's a possibility that they may play in Huntsville. That's Wednesday, May 18th. And then May 20th and 21st, they're saying Charlotte and Raleigh. Now, there are some events, I believe, that weekend at these venues. So we don't know. We'll see what happens. We really will have to see what happens. Because this could be, that Charlotte Raleigh could be, I don't feel as confident about that. And there also is, between May 21st and May 25th, which is Labor Day weekend. Labor Day weekend starts on Friday the 20th, and then Monday the 23rd is Labor Day. Memorial Day weekend. But May 25th would be that Wednesday after Memorial Day. So we'll see if that happens. We'll have to see if that is a possible, if that does happen. Now, what is this? Kermit the Prague rocker. Right? The thing that sucks about this year's rumors is the amount of leads that fell off due to the pandemic. Texas looks like a lock as an opener. Yes, this is true. Kermit the Prague is that because of the pandemic, and even in my personal life, I have the best dentist office in the world. Like, when I tell you, my dad hated the dentist, but he married my mom. They moved to Connecticut where my mom was already lived her whole life. And this dentist turned my dad into hating the dentist to loving and like looking forward to it. There were layoffs everywhere. You guys probably know people who were laid off, but for the band and for the venues, for Live Nation venues, and for the touring crew and all the people in the like that run the things behind the scenes for the band, from the warehouse club to the drivers to the stage crew, there were some layoffs. So people that had these leads, they came to the ants marching forums and said, hey, this person, or so and so that I knew, or this anonymous person I know, look, they just they weren't able to, they were lost due to the pandemic, right? There was no touring, so they were lost. So no, I completely understand that. And it is sad, and I do wish those people the best. There are humans. They were humans. Even on Twitter, we have a person from Connecticut that was a stagehand, and this pandemic has impacted them as a stagehand because they had to shut down all the stages, major stages in Connecticut, for some time. And people, she knows people in that industry that lost their jobs and were struggling. So June 17th and 18th is the next set of dates. Mansfield and Hartford. This is a Friday, Saturday, back to back. So they're saying Hartford is going to come back this year, and there are strong leads about this too. There was a lead initially that, hey, Hartford is coming back, and then it was Hartford has this date. Friday the 17th, Saturday the 18th. This will be my I really hope, I almost hope this is, I want there to be a Hartford show, but the dilemma is I have a potential wedding. Now I don't have to go to it. It's a wedding outside of Connecticut. I'm thinking things over about that. So this conflicts with the wedding, and I know everyone's been through this. If you guys are DMB veterans, and there was a SPAC show. I got SPAC night 2 one year, and the same date as a wedding I was supposed to play music in, like during our hors d'oeuvre hour. SPAC night 2, and I got confirmed for SPAC tickets. Anyway, the couple ended up not needing me anyway, and it all worked out. I went to SPAC night 2 in 2018. Anyway, so we have this Friday, Saturday, Mansfield, Hartford. We have Deer Creek the 24th and the 25th, the following weekend. And then Homedale is on the 27th. Now, there was also rumors that Homedale may not be booked. Like they were working out logistics on that. We'll see probably this Tuesday, right? We'll see what happens. And then Jones Beach would be Tuesday the 28th. Now, what I've also heard is at the end of June, Maryland Heights, Missouri, which is outside of St. Louis, this is actually hot off the press, that there may be a St. Louis date of some sort. So we'll have to see what happens. There aren't a lot of, when you look at what's there at the from June 17th and 18th, you go to Hartford, Mansfield, Hartford. Deer Creek is the 24th and the 25th. So maybe after Hartford, they go to St. Louis, or after Deer Creek, they go to St. Louis. Like they continue more on that end, but they could do either or. They could, after Hartford, which would be a Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and then that Tuesday, right? Tuesday the 21st, they go to St. Louis, and then they make their way back a little bit east towards, the Indianapolis metro area where Deer Creek is. So we'll have to see. And then Camden, now I didn't put this on the board, but Camden may fit in early June, right? That's really, so there's certain dates that are at Camden already, but Camden's got to fit in there somewhere. And let's see. Kermit the Prague says, here's my problem with Homedale Jones Beach rumors. Logistically, it doesn't make sense for the crew to load out these dates beforehand just to head west, then up to SPAC in the beginning of July. So here's the thing about Homedale. So the band has historically, things got changed around in 2021. The band has had things set up. So like they were supposed to do Mohegan to open the tour, and then after that go straight to Deer Creek. The band does a double pass. Now you could be right, because sometimes the Homedale Jones Beach are in July when they have SPAC season, right? But the band they do 2 or 3 passes around the East Coast. They like to cash in twice. They like to collect their money twice around the East Coast. It's there's been for multiple years, there's been plans for them to go to Hartford and then Deer Creek. Now I know what you mean. That yes, um, they'll be going from the East Coast to Hartford, then to the Midwest to Deer Creek, and then they would come back to the East Coast and then go to like they may go to St. Louis. So you could be right because they have to go after June 28th. They would go to Alpine, right? So they would go June 28th, and then they have 4th of July weekend, July 1st and 2nd, or before, yeah, 1st and 2nd would be back to, yeah. So it is some sort of like suicide, like I don't want to say that. It's more like a shuttle run or like a sprint you would do in football and soccer. So it is logistically, you do have a point there. Now that I think of it, yeah, because Alpine is the next weekend. Um, yeah, you're right. Jones Beach has traditionally been when they do the SPAC, the second pass, it's typically SPAC. So yeah, we'll have to see. And like we've heard, Jones Beach, not Jones Beach, Homedale, they said there's not a date. So yeah, that could be wrong. And if I look at the entire week of June, you're absolutely right. That could be the one that stands out and that isn't right. And we'll have to see what St. Louis holds. So we're gonna move to July. Oh, what was that? The last one. This is the Gorge, obviously. I don't need to say that. This is this is actually on the Columbia River. It's off a trail. I'm gonna actually, by the way, let me see if I can find this on the map. Because if you do end up going to the gorge, I'm getting a little sidetracked, but I feel strongly about this, so just give me one moment. Yeah, Mark's right. It would be three passes to the area. Yeah, the Hartford to Deer Creek, Jones Beach, Homedale to Alpine. No, you guys are right. Now that I think of it, yeah, that's like running a sprint. That's like running a sprint. I'm going to show you guys on a map. Um, I'm going to show you guys where this is. And I'm now you can listen to whoever you want to listen to. I personally prefer, as a travel nut, I prefer to get a hotel outside of the gorge than camp. And the reason is I can leave, I can do different things between where I'm staying, and I can do things between where I'm staying and the gorge every day. And shout out to DMB Mamas who is on right now. Uh-oh. Let me move this. I gotta just move that over. But shout out to DMB Mamas. We actually went hiking. See if I can find that picture. Like me and DMB Mamas went hiking before the gorge. Um, for a, and then we went to the gorge the same day. Like I like being able to do stuff. Now you can do stuff. You can walk the stuff. You can go swimming if you camp. But when you actually have a car, you can do more and you can get around the places. Um, where are the pictures? Where is it? Dropbox. That's videos. Oh, here it is. This is me and DMB Mamas. So we went hiking before the gorge. So, and this is actually on the way. So I went hiking up here. And then after we went hiking, I went to this place right here. And I'm going to show you guys where this is because it's really cool. Um, where's that part? Because this is Wenatchee. It's a little bit of a drive. Oh, here it is. Okay. So here it is. Yep. So this is where I parked. Now this is called, is it Hydro Park? Yeah. So you can look this up, Hydro Park tennis courts. I walked along the trail here, and when I got along the trail, like right around here, where was I? Anyway, Hydro Park tennis courts. When you're driving towards the gorge, you can see it. But this is one view of it. This is where I was. So when you go along the trail, you can actually walk off the trail to the stones, and you can see this beautiful water here, the Columbia River. You could take a boat all the way up to the gorge from this river. It would take you a little bit, but you could do it. Anyway, yeah, Kermit, I'm gonna get to that as well. Yep, the Charleston. Um, that's where I took this information. All this information was found on the. And then what else do you say? You said, yep, how they structure the summer tours was late South, Southeast, New England, Midwest. Yep, and then New York Metro, Mid Atlantic, Florida as the first leg, and then after that, they go out to like Fiddlers, and then from Fiddlers they go to the Gorge. Mark said we hiked in Vantage last time, and they were good trails. So yeah, that's the thing is I like being able to I like being able to just there's so much there Seattle, I mean not Seattle, the state of Washington has so many clean trails. Oregon has so many clean trails. Idaho, I'm telling you, if you go to the gorge, plan a week trip and go to Idaho. Coeur d'Alene had some of the cleanest city parks I've seen in my life. Now I've heard the same thing about Oregon, and I did go to Oregon parks, Oregon Beach. It was extremely clean. Um, and But yeah, like this whole area, this is Wenatchee to get to the Gorge Amphitheater. It is a drive, but it's a beautiful drive. I know it says 56 minutes. It it doesn't feel like 56 minutes. This drive is so beautiful and so captivating. So I was here for one night, and then I was in Moses Lake over here. This is where the my first picture was on Moses Lake at the park, which is actually, is it right here? No, that's another park. I think it's Cascade Park. Yeah, this is where my other picture was taken at Cascade Park. But I'm telling you, I love doing that. Anyway, so for July, we have Alpine July 1st and 2nd. And that's the weekend of July 4th. The next weekend, you have SPAC. And then July 12th and 13th, you have Guilford. Um, these dates, I really believe these dates are what the band usually does. In a pre C19 era, you would have your Alpine, or you have your Milwaukee. You have your SPAC in July, and then you have Guilford right after, or Guilford around the time before it. So these all I think are right. Now I want to get to this. So Kermit the Prog Run says, how much stock do you put in the post Gorge, Colorado rumors? This is tough because my mindset is that they do Fiddlers. So last year was a unique year, and Colorado can get cold, and DMB and Dead and Company did some late runs and late passes around Colorado, and it was cold. So I personally don't think it makes sense to have Fiddlers in September 9th. It could happen, but I don't know yet. I don't put 100% on it. My mindset is that they should have. Oh, so you're saying SPAC? Yeah, SPAC is a lot. I had my hotel booked like. It's been over a month that I booked my hotel for SPAC, right? Yeah, Colorado was cold. Yeah. So that's why I'm like, now September, this is the thing about if you live in a warm climate, Colorado, even the gorge, people who know the gorge, right? Who have been there more, I've only been twice, but people who are gorge veterans that I've talked to, the gorge can be really cold and windy. It could be hot. When I was there my first time, it was like 90 degrees every day. It reminded me of a Las Vegas Junior. That's what it's a sub desert, but it's like it's dry heat. It's not as hot as I've been to Vegas in July. Right? It was like 115, 120 in 2003 when I went. So it's like a Vegas Junior some years. Other years it feels like you're in like the Northeast in like October. Like it's chilly. So anyway, my bet would be that Fiddlers is before the Gorge, but listen, someone's putting that up there. They could, and if they have intel, they could be there. But I really think it's going to be before. Um, Oops, I forgot to take this out. Via common sense, Labor Day weekend is going to be Labor Day weekend. Everyone says, and it's kind of, you don't need an expert to tell you this, but everyone says Dave has the Gorge until he retires for Labor Day weekend. Pearl Jam, like if Dave somehow, if Dave took a break like Fish, I believe it was like Kiss had it the year Dave 2017. But Dave has this book. The only person that could trump Dave is Fish or Pearl Jam if they had this date before Dave. The problem is Pearl Jam doesn't want to play any shows anymore, and they haven't played the Gorge in a long time. Now they did have kind of like Red Rocks and DMB the last weekend on the Rocks, although this wasn't the only reason, there's stage issues. But the last weekend of the Red Rocks for DMB was kind of wild. And Pearl Jam, when they played there, the crowds were wild. Now, every crowd was wild back then, from what I heard, it was different, time for concerts. But Fish does play there. But, Pearl Jam doesn't really do anything. And plus, Pearl Jam could play Memorial Day. They could do all sorts of other stuff. But Pearl Jam and Fish are the only bands that if Dave took a big hiatus, or Dave just says, look, the band's broken up, Carter wants to retire, I'm doing Dave and Friends. Those are kind of the only ones that I would think they would consider giving this weekend to more than 1 year in a row. What do you say? The other reason I'm cautious about the Colorado room is, again, going back to logistics, it's a momentum. Yes, that is the thing, and I'm glad, Kermit the Prog, you're bringing up some awesome points, and thank you for joining us. Please come back next week if you're free, or come in the comments if you can't make it, because you have some great points. The problem with the West Coast, even to the point in the winter tour, think about it. Dave has done Charlottesville. Now that's his real hometown. Like he's lived all across the world, right? South Africa. He's New York City. He lived in New York City, went back to South Africa, then came back and went to Virginia. And so Dave has lived all across the world. But what you see Dave do, he goes to the mountains of Virginia because it's closer to DC, it's closer to Philly, it's closer to New York. But he doesn't go to Seattle. He doesn't play Seattle venues. And Seattle has Climate Pledge Arena, which is getting concerts now. But the pain is, especially, again, there could be a snowstorm in the mountain pass. So September 9th, you don't with the mountains out west. And this is why I respect people who live out west. Like I said, you could argue we get more snow. We definitely get more snow than Seattle, right? Plain and simple. We can get more snow than Denver. It just depends on where you live in Denver, the Denver metro. Especially if you live in the mountains, you guys get more snow. And even up in our Vermonts and New Hampshires, we get a lot of snow. But the mountain passes, we saw people tragically lose their life because of a trucking error out in Colorado, and that was a big thing. But logistically, it is dangerous in September to go from the Gorge to Fiddlers, because you are going through places that could get snow any given day. Where when you go to Fiddlers in August, there could still be snowing, like in the higher elevations, you could potentially, it's not impossible for them to get snow, but you're not going to have a huge snowstorm. You're going to have a thunderstorm. Colorado gets a lot of hail. I was trained, I was a licensed adjuster who knew Colorado because there would be certain times where we had to help out our West Coast buddies when I was a claims adjuster not too long ago. So they get hail and they get thunderstorms. That's fine for the crew. They'll just wait out the hail and then they'll keep driving. If there's a snowstorm, they got to put change on their tires. They got to do all this other stuff to get from Washington to Colorado. And there's like, no matter how you get to Colorado, there's mountains. So yeah, I agree. That's what that really makes it tough, to believe. I think you would. That's why they do Colorado in August, and it is the best. Take away the gorge. Colorado is the best selling 2-night stand for the West Coast. Even it beat out Irvine this year, and there's no other real 2-night stands. So yeah, I don't know, but we do know 100% Sound on Sound Festival, Bridgeport, Connecticut. We do know that. This is the gorge at sunset. All right, and this is Madison Square Garden. This is actually the last show. I came up here and took a picture. I went up to the rail of the pit from the seating. I was not sitting here. I wish I was. My boy was sitting here who shot the last stop video for me. But some of these overlap. So these are kind of broad, vague rumors. And you saw some of these dates, right? So you saw Hartford, right? You saw Alpine, Texas, Orion. The Hartford shows at Xfinity Theater. Now, one of the things we didn't go over, there's buzz saying no Syracuse, Bethel is likely. So this is one rumor. And Syracuse is interesting because of the parking situation, and they don't necessarily need to go that far upstate. People are going to go to SPAC. SPAC is the hub. It is the upstate. It's the Mid-Atlantic Dave Matthews Band Festival. So anyone who wants to go, you could be 4 or 5 hours from SPAC. You're going to go to SPAC because it's SPAC. It's the upstate New York hub. And Syracuse, you got to drive a couple hours to get there, but you do it because it's SPAC. You could be in Buffalo. Shout out to Justin Hayes and his girlfriend Olivia, right? They let me go back. They do that, they'll make some road trips for Dave. And Salt Lake City, West Valley, Utah has an amphitheater. Will likely get a show again this summer. That's where, going back to the whole idea of when they're going to do Fiddlers, I would think they would do some sort of August Salt Lake City. And they could even do like a New Mexico. Shout out to DMB Mamas if she's watching. She's in New Mexico. They could do a New Mexico, Salt Lake City Fiddlers run. They could do Phoenix, right? Maybe, Phoenix is hot. Phoenix is hot. I've been in Arizona in July. Northern Arizona, not so. I know Phoenix is worse than Vegas. My mother used to have quarterly visits for her manager job to people that report to her back in the day. It was 4 or 5 years ago. And she, in August, she said, hey, concert vids. Remember when we went to Vegas in July? Well, Phoenix is 10 times worse. It's hell on earth. She didn't say that, but that's what she described it as. She said it was people would drain their pools. It was so hot. They would drain their pools in the summer sometimes. Or the water in the pool would just be like squirt, like it was just dangerously, like they couldn't cool it. Also, Blossom is supposed to be, confirmed. Now, you would think, hey, Blossom should be something that's most likely to happen. Because you're saying Kermit Prague says the rub with Syracuse, it was meant to sub out Darien in Toronto. Unfortunately, the attendance has not been there. Plus, it's not a great venue. Very sterile may sound at best. Okay, interesting. And even looking at it online, it looks too small. I know Syracuse is a college town, and it does have some business, but like that venue did not look. Now, New York is extremely expensive to build things in. The Buffalo Bills are having funding issues because the taxpayers like, bro, we already are like pounded by taxes without this stadium. They're telling the owner, look, put your own money up like Robert Kraft. So there are financial issues with stuff like this because people don't, not everyone stops in Syracuse. Now, the Foo Fighters did have a stop there, and it was like the biggest thing since sliced bread there. The Foo Fighters coming to Syracuse. And they do get the Live Nation shows, but it's not like bands are seeking to go there. Bands will make a stop there to get paid, but the promoters really got to push them to get there. Okay, so the idea is Darien got axed due to Blossom and Syracuse having competing markets. I don't necessarily believe that, but hey, right, because Darien Lake is kind of up there. It's closer to right. So Darien, okay, so yeah, that's the thing is they want to touch a market, but then they don't want to have another show within a couple. Syracuse Amp is built across the highway from New York State Fairgrounds. Yes. Oh, it was subsidized by the state. Okay. I was looking it up because I almost went to Syracuse and I did see the state fairgrounds there. I almost went to Syracuse and was going to get a hotel. I decided to go to Guilford. In some ways I regret it, but in other ways I don't. They did have the JTR there, and they had a captain, I believe. But I've been blessed enough. I've gotten some captains in Hartford that when they hardly play it, they play it in Hartford. So it is what it is. But yeah, and then they also have like a secondary parking lot that requires a shuttle, right? Is it to the fairgrounds? I just know that it's like there's not like all parking is not on site. It's not like Hartford where you can walk it and there's police they have a high police presence to make people feel safe as they're at the crosswalks in Hartford. They do a great job out there. The Hartford PD, which I know well from being a resident here, and they do a great job of keeping people protected with the crosswalks during a concert night. Anyway, so that's interesting though that there's kind of and there's a lot of it seems like you do have these venues that are subbed out like Alpine and then Milwaukee. They want to kind of keep it back and forth. It changes engagement too. They have two lots, one next to the amp, one across the highway, but it doesn't fill up. Okay, so they're not getting the ticket sales. That makes sense because that is okay. And there are venues like that they have one close, one far. Okay, so they don't fill it up. I know one year there was like mud and rain that messed up that fairground lot. I think it was the first year DMB played there. It was like a disaster. Also, so the spring 2022, I actually added this to the almanac when I was at MSG. I was talking to someone there, a friend of a friend, and my friend John, he's got connects. Like he has day one warehouse member friends. That's how he got a view like this. If you guys see my last stop video, it was John's phone. He sent me it to upload to me. So shout out to John. He's got a lot of connections that have been around this band since the early 90s. He knows tapers. Like I talked to a taper. So from this knowing that the people John knows, this person said this is what they were hearing. And honestly, the spring 2022 could have been impacted by C19, right? They could have just scrapped it because they would have had to promote the spring or had an idea of negotiating the spring in Christmas time. In Christmas time, you could not find a test for the C19. So that could have impacted that. It could have just been something someone said or an idea that just never came to fruition. They could have delayed the rollout of this album and say, look, we can't promote it in the spring. We're going to go right to the summer tour. So Alpine is such a big travel destination still for DMB fans. Top tier venue. They probably won't ever drop it entirely yet. And Alpine is like a very strong revolver. It only has every concert year, it fires off very powerful rounds, right? That will literally blow someone back with force. But they have like Jimmy Buffett, Fish will be there. and then they Dead and Company, and then there's not enough space for DMB. Yes, the venue does have money issues with the um because what they had new ownership and financially it's not good. The townspeople apparently don't they don't like the traffic. It's like they don't like the traffic of all these different shows. Yes, Rage is opening. Rage Against the Machine is opening there, and Rage actually moved the they backed out of Boston Calling. Yeah, first so that's the first show in ages. Yeah, so it's gonna be the first show in a while there. And again, yeah, they only can shoot up a couple rounds, and they don't get to reload, right? They literally have one gun for protection against the zombies, against the evil people, that the cows that are going to come attack. And but when you fire off those six bullets, that's it, right? It's almost like a video game. Some of the, there'll be some games where you get a weapon, but you only have a certain amount of shots. So sometimes you got to be stealthy. Sometimes that's what it's like. Alpine is limited with the shows they can have, and they tend to have, if they're going to have a show there, they want to maximize that profit. Not that DMB doesn't sell it out, but they may say, look, we'll do DMB this year, but if someone else is touring, we're gonna, we if there's a Dead and Company, we want to get that demographic. If Jimmy Buffett, the Parrot Heads, we want to get them in because we know they're gonna travel. Again, not that DMB is not gonna, but they know like the Parrot Heads is a whole nother thing, and there's less. Jimmy Buffett doesn't. The other thing is DMB tours every year. When Jimmy Buffett, or let's just say Pearl Jam, comes up, if Pearl Jam wants Alpine, they're going to have a bigger draw for that lawn area than DMB because Pearl Jam doesn't tour every year. Fish is going to have more people in a lawn at Alpine than DMB in 2022, right? Not 2000, right? In 2000, DMB that was the band, that was the touring band. They were doing 3 shows at Hartford, I think they had 3 in Alpine. They had, they were doing all these crazy stuff. They were in stadiums. Okay, and then he says, also with the announcement 2-1, don't necessarily believe we're going to see any spring shows. We're talking less than 90 days. Yes, I agree. The pushback of this, it just doesn't make me feel confident that they're going to have spring because, again, you have to promote it. You have to get the tickets on sale. And before we know it, it's going to be March. And the summer tour actually starts in the spring in May. So I really don't see that happening. I do hope they go to Charlottesville at some point this year. I don't know if that's going to really happen. And a lot is still unknown. We don't know what's going to happen with the album or not, if there is that album. But what's not here is Charleston, South Carolina. They're supposed to do 2 dates, around Texas time in May. I don't know if it'll be before or after, but there is rumors about Charleston. That's an interesting rumor. Although here's the thing, South Carolina is getting so many people retiring down there or moving down there. I've seen 2 different types of people with coworkers, friends, family, old neighbors. South Carolina is getting people who are retired or just about to retire, like they're just about to retire, and they're bringing in their last 5 years of earning into South Carolina so they can pay off that house, really. So they're going to buy a house. Houses are going for 40, 50,000 over asking in South Carolina because they know that people from the north are going to pay those prices because they're getting paid more. So maybe that's what the Charleston ideas, but although a lot of the people don't live in Charleston, they're living more in Hilton Head, South Carolina, towards the Georgia borders, where a lot of the housing is being built, and from the coast all the way inland. So I'd be curious to see numbers from Lake Tahoe, Utah. Fiddlers is a bigger draw than Salt Lake City. It's a quick jump to Denver. I'd be very surprised if that happened. Yeah, that's what's odd about Utah and in Lake Tahoe too. And also Fish had to cancel shows in Lake Tahoe. No, they rescheduled. They moved them to somewhere else. Um, so hey, what's up, Luke? Thank you for being on. Yeah, I just don't know the number. Denver is just the number one. Denver actually, I think Denver had better numbers in 2019 than Camden did as far as attendance. Denver had better attendance than Camden, and that's how much Denver is the shining star on the hill for the West Coast. And they've gotten Spoon, they've gotten time of the season. Um, and Luke, I see you on the Discord that we have for DMB Society. Yeah, I'm glad you could come in and join. We're just talking about the tour. Mark says Alpharetta has sold out their latest DMB shows, smaller venue, but they did 10 nights in 2009. Would make more sense to do Alpharetta times two than Charleston, smaller tennis city. Yeah, it's definitely a smaller tennis stadium. Dave and Tim did that. That's why I don't know if it's going to be Dave and Tim. What's interesting about Atlanta is they keep doing Alpharetta, and it used to do. It was called Aaron's Amphitheater. I don't know what it's called now. Let me look that up. In Atlanta, because it'll automatically right because Alpharetta is north of the city. Oh, it's Solaris, right? Oh yeah, Solaris. At Lakewood, right? So you have this is a bigger amphitheater. The Alpharetta one used to be called like what the Verizon. Is it still Verizon? Oh, Maris Bank. All right. Duh, Maris Bank. They changed these names so much. Yeah, the Charleston dates are weird. Yeah, they haven't hit like when I think of Charleston, I think of like the 96 tour that I've seen, on Sirius XM. They don't hit that market. The market, yeah. Atlanta is a bigger market. North Carolina, Charlotte, and Raleigh are big metro areas where, by the way, a lot of DMB fans who relocate to the South are in Charlotte. So Lakewood, that's the worst you've seen. Right. But the thing about Lakewood, it's a bigger venue. And maybe that's why they moved out of there because it's just getting older. Where's that out of? Atlanta. Oh, that's in South. That's South Atlanta. Yeah. Although this area, where is this? Where's the airport? Yeah, because south of Atlanta, this is where like this area is, property I believe is going up here. Because I know someone who has a townhouse. What is this? Riverdale, Pittsburgh. Yeah. So this area used to be because actually rapper Waka Flocka Flame is from South in this southern Atlanta area. So it used to be very what can I say? Yeah, it used to be really, really, it was pretty hood. Yeah, it used to be pretty. But this area is starting, I believe, and I haven't been down to Atlanta in a while. I have family that lives down here. Like I said, I know someone who owns a townhouse. Just so that family and friends visit, they would all go down there to stay. But yeah, south this is where's Riverdale? Riverdale is out here, and you got some other stuff. The airport, College Park, Hartsfield's right there, but College Park and Riverdale, that used, that was kind of like the hood, man. You would have all those, like I hear, you hear rappers that come out of there. It's yeah. So maybe it is because of it. It's an aging venue there, so we'll have to see what becomes of that. But Atlanta's interesting because The amphitheater they have is too small for some of the bigger acts, but it does sell out, right? It does sell out. It is a market you want to touch and want to. You have an album coming out, you want to go to Atlanta. Um, but it is kind of an interesting thing that they don't have a larger amphitheater. It's such a like the fact that Hartford has a bigger venue than Atlanta, and again, living in Connecticut, having family that my grandparents, my mom's parents are from Georgia, and my mom's cousin, who's closer to my age, he moved back down there for college, and he has family out there now. It's a much bigger city. It's a much bigger metro area, one of the biggest in the country, and it's a huge DMB market for sure. It's a huge DMB market. Dave's wife is from the Atlanta area or from Georgia, so it's a special place for him. So, but yeah, they probably should have built a bigger amphitheater out there. Now the other thing is there the warehouse. Let me log into my warehouse, and then that'll be it for tonight. It's 11:20. Thank you guys. This has been great conversation. I'm out. See you in a minute. Hey Amy, thanks for coming on. It's been, and I appreciate you guys' input. This whole channel, I made this. I started doing these streams because wait, Fish played Ascend. That's a small amphitheater for Fish. Fish played Ascend. I know Dave and Tim played that. That's a small amphitheater. That's interesting. I mean, that's a very, very intimate amp. I think that's too small for DMB. That's why they play Bridgestone. DMB and Dave wants to maximize his profits. If they were to do Nashville, I think it would still be Bridgestone again. I don't know why they would do Ascend. It's too small. They're about profit. I know they have the same management, but that's a very small. That's like when Foo Fighters came to Connecticut and they played a 15,000. They played the Hartford Healthcare amp. Yeah, Mark says that. Yeah, this is exactly why they sold out Bridgestone. Ascend is too small, and the thing is, Bridgestone is going to get you more dollars per ticket because there's no lawn. The last row at Bridgestone is probably going to be sick with inflation and all this stuff that's going on in this country. We printed too much dang money, okay? And we had all this money that we shouldn't have printed. Anyway, I need to stop. Yeah, I'm gonna get away from that. But we messed up. We had too much money in circulation. We did not need this money. We need to help people, but we printed way too much money. Oh my God. Anyway, stop. No politics. But anyway, with inflation, I think the Bridgestone, the worst seat's going to be 60. That's $20 more before fees than, and they have, maybe they'll have, the last row, they'll have to change the price. But if it's sold out, Nashville's a music town. If they sell it out and the worst seats are $60, it's going to be one of the highest grossing single night shows of the tour. Ticketing. I'm pulling up my where is it? Got it. There it is. DMB doesn't take, but see, DMB, they don't like playing arenas. But here's the thing, DMB plays its best. Honestly, this modern era of DMB, they play their best shows in arenas. Think about Des Moines, Iowa. Was that 2019? That show was one of the best shows of the year. Now, again, it's not going to compete with a SPAC. It's not going to compete with a Gorge. But Des Moines, Iowa was like the best midweek show of 2019 or 2020. 2018 or 2019. Whenever they played Des Moines, Iowa, that was one of the best shows of the year. By the way, The winter tours 2018 and 2021 were better. I know those aren't the summer per se, but they were going to play Mohegan Sun. Originally, that was going to be the tour opener. So, also Pensacola, Florida. We got a Raven in Pensacola, Florida. So I don't. It's not that they don't like to play amphitheaters. In many ways, they're better for the band because they don't sweat 400 pounds off. They just like, there's certain energy they get outside, but they actually play better in arenas even in the summertime. They play a lot better at arenas because, again, you're not sweating. You have a better sound inside just because with all the weather elements and the heat and all that stuff, the sound can be off pretty easily. Um, Now, what's interesting is right here we have they changed some of the stuff. They said for stadiums, ticket types and stadiums, GA standing, reserve seating, reserve seating in the grandstand areas. So they've changed some of this stuff a little bit. And there was someone on the Ants forum said something about. Let me pull this up about a rear GA. I didn't look at this. Is my first time pulling up the warehouse. What's it? Ticket types. I'm trying to see if I can find this. Someone on the I don't know if you're watching. Someone said they wanted Fenway Park for the Boston area. No, we do not want Fenway. I want a Fenway Park set list at Mansfield. I do not want it. I do not want a Fenway Park. God, no. Ballparks suck because you have, unless you can get confirmed for the field, and even the field is hard to see. If you're not in the pit, you don't feel connected to the show, in my opinion, right? I've been to some baseball concerts, and they just don't. Not for DMB, for other people, but it's the same idea. Let me see. I'm looking at the. See if I can find it. Someone said they saw on the warehouse site. Let's see if I can find it. Oh, so the warehouse guidelines have always listed venue out. Okay. Someone actually debunked this. Okay. So I guess they always list this just for liability. What did change though, here we have a cost of your order. So delivery fee per series, $22.50 for US, $30 for Canadian. There's a WPP fee, $21 per package for the premium. Convenience fee, 11% at the face value, but the delivery fee is up to $22.50. So yeah, yeah, things are getting a little. I have no current. Oh, it's not gonna show that to me. Not what he's saying. I can say, reminding Mark's experience, taping DMB and Amps versus arenas is a different beast. Front of house has a harder time in arenas. I've gotten better pulls in open air arenas, Irvine, Colorado. Okay. Oh, so you're a taper. Hey, thank you guys. You and Mark. If I see you at a show, we'll buy you a drink. Seriously, if you're at a show, let me know if I'm doing a stream and you're at a show. We'll get you a drink or whatever. If you don't drink, that's fine. We'll get you something. I always appreciate tapers. So, also for you guys, you get better pulls. Okay, I just know in my personal experience, the sound, like listen, being at the show, the arenas just now. Don't get me wrong, SPAC. There is nothing like SPAC, like the acoustics at SPAC. I've heard the same thing with Blossom. I haven't been. There's certain things that just the sound can sometimes carry well if the equipment is right. And I guess you guys are able to get, yeah, because if you guys have mics, that makes sense. If you guys have mics in an arena, it may bounce off the wall or maybe set in a certain way in an arena where you can't get a good tape. But I know just listening to the shows in person that the 2018, the fall 2018 tour with Buddy being there, they sounded better in the arenas than every show outside of SPAC that I went to. And some of that I think is Live Nation. Live Nation does not, they don't have incentives to upgrade their stadiums unless it gets really beat down. Even so, they don't have incentives to upgrade the screens, to upgrade the speakers in the lawn, right? There's no incentive where the arenas like Madison Square Garden, Nationwide Arena, they have 41 home games for sports events. And if they don't have Wi-Fi, that's good. If they don't have ribbon boards, if they don't change the seats up, if you go to some of these arenas like Wells Fargo, TD Garden, even Little Caesars Arena in Detroit, within a year and a half, they changed their seats from red to black because on TV, the red seats stood out more. In the TD Garden and Wells Fargo Center, same engineer, by the way, that built those arenas, if I'm correct. They changed their seats to black so they didn't blend them in, but they also made the seats a little more comfortable. So the arenas have more incentives to upgrade things. By the way, UBS Arena is looking. I'll be interested to see, and if you guys ever tape at UBS, let me know how it is. I went there. I went there a couple weeks ago for Dave Matthews being. I know, not really, for Flyers. I'm a Flyers fan. I went for Flyers Islanders, and this thing was amazing. And they said they built the speakers in this arena. This is in Long Island in Belmont Park, so it's right next door to the. It's right next door to the racetrack where the Belmont Stakes is. That's the last leg of the Triple Crown. And this place is amazing. And I heard the speakers were specific. This arena was made for live concerts. They have Tool coming up. They have John Mayer coming up. And I'll have to talk to John O. He's a friend of the show. John O, you'll see him on some of these streams. He's going to see John Mayer there. And I want to ask him how the sound is, because I know he's seen Mayer at a bunch of different places like me. He's a John Mayer fan like me. He's seen him across the Northeast. I really heard good things about UBS Arena. And when I was there, just the audio, this just opened in November. The audio is great. It would be a nice change up. Would they sub up Madison Square Garden for this? I think because it's new, that's what really makes this thing stand out. It's new, and they really, from what I hear and what I heard at the game, just regular audio, this thing was made for concerts. It wasn't just an arena for hockey, because they knew they would get hockey, but at the same time, they're not like, they don't have the Knicks, they don't have the Brooklyn Nets. So they have to have a way to sell concerts, and the real thing is the acoustics. I'm sure the backstage is set up as well for these artists to feel like they're the best people, like the most important people in the world. So oh, you said, yeah, 2018 they were dialed in with the sound. Arenas are used 2 to 3 times more than a Live Nation shit. Oh, you're gonna see Tool there. Let me know if you're on another stream after Tool. Okay, that should be cool. By the way, there was a Tool show from a DMB page. Let me see if I can pull this up. I just was watching some of it earlier. Tool, Colorado Springs. Um, yeah. So there's a Tool show that just dropped. If you want to get a preview, if you don't want to, don't watch this. Yes, yeah, Mr. NY Crispy. He dropped this like literally the next day. He dropped this today, but the show was on the 28th. So he has this whole show. And then, oh, you're gonna tape Mayor? Hey, Kermit, are you gonna Kermit the Frog? Are you gonna be at the Albany show? Because I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna be at Albany and I'm gonna be doing video. I don't have taping equipment. I really, to be honest, don't. I really, like I said, I respect what you guys do. I don't have the skill set to tape, but if you're taping Albany, that would be awesome. And like I said, I will get you. We'll get you something. We'll get you a food, something. We'll find you if you are doing if you're doing Albany, the tour opener. I'll be at that one. Which, by the way, if anyone's on the fence about John Mayer and Albany, there's still tickets left. It's a common thing. Albany, John likes to start there, and then he started 2 tours in Albany, and then he goes to the more popular one. So it's like he knows there's not as much pressure. Fans will get out there, but it's not as much pressure as New York or Long Island or Boston. So he works out his stuff in Albany. He's going to be Philly the next day, and then he gets up to the New York City Metro for MSG for a couple shows, UBS for a couple shows, Boston. But if you do go to Albany, let me know. If you do tape it, let me know. And like I said, we will get you food. We'll get you something. You want a tour t-shirt? Listen, we appreciate what you do as tapers, especially me being someone who does video, and know that, without a taper's audio, we can't have some of the stuff that Copperpot and other people put together. Mr. NY Crispy will do that. I believe it's him who has those. He's got those mixes. Yeah, the Dave Matthews Band. Yeah, he does the full shows. So he'll pull the taper audio. Yeah, he's also someone. But yeah, thank you guys, Mark and Kermit the Frog. Thank you guys for taping. Because again, without you guys, if one of you guys doesn't show up at a show, we don't have a tape. And like I said, I cannot thank you guys enough for what you do. But like I said, this is for anyone who's new. Oh, we almost went 2 hours. I'm just trying to create a discussion here. I'm not the only person who I know my opinion is my opinion alone. So it is, but I'm open to other people's opinions and input and insight because I've only been going to live shows for 10 years. Some of you guys know this stuff more than me, as you guys are showing for during the stream. I'll try to the one thing I forgot to talk about is the difference. Well, we're gonna have the tour announcement, but I'll probably bring that up more in another stream. But I did want to point out, just in general, there's a difference between underrated songs and underplayed songs. And many of you guys know this, but one of the things, like, people say, oh, this song's underrated, that song's underrated. A lot of times they're not underrated, the songs are underplayed. But we'll table that for another week because I know we'll have the tour announcement and then we're going to have some time in between. So I'll table that for another discussion. But thank you guys. Tell your friends. You can watch this on replay. You do not have to watch this live. I know people have lives, but I want to create a conversation. I want as many people in here as possible to talk DMB. Hit the like button, because when you hit the like button, this is going to be elevated higher up for people to see that are looking for content like this, or who may not know they want to see this content and they see it. But my streams are Wednesdays, 10 p.m., Saturdays, 10 p.m. Ron, hey, Ron from Colorado, shout out to you. Now Ron was playing some. We'll shut since Ron's popped in. He had some. He was playing minarets earlier today. He's been playing it all week, right? But he actually recorded typical. And I gotta go to bed. I gotta get ready for some to go down to an event in Bridgeport. Wow. Oh, thank you for liking it. Yeah, that's your jam. I love that PRS. Um, now that I'm getting into fish, I'm probably gonna be looking for a something like a double cutaway, a semi hollow, not a double cut, a semi hollow guitar. So I see you have it right there. I'm gonna be looking at. You could have brought. Nah, the hair makes it, dude. The hair makes it. You're jamming out to the minarets. The long hair, don't care attitude is shown there. But I'm gonna probably gonna get a semi hollow guitar. Um, Now, is that gonna be in a couple months? Probably not. It'll probably be in a year. But I've been playing all this fish, learning all this fish, and I know Trey's got the semi hollows that he uses. Also, Dead and Company, John Mayer for that. So it'll serve two purposes to get a semi hollow cutaway to go with my Strat and my Telly. Um, oh, you said Stupid Almanac. You said yay or no. I think there's gonna be a new album. I really do. I really don't think it has the writing on the wall is just like um come tomorrow. You had a couple years of road testing. Now the first year of road testing would be 2020. They just didn't have shows. 2021 would be that kind of second year, but really the first full year. And then you have an album that comes out. I really think they're going to have a new album. It's still up in the air, but I don't think they did. I don't think Rashawn would be revealing last year, the studio stuff if they weren't close to getting that album. Now, again, things change, but basically they stay the same, right? Forget about the reason. But I really think they're going to have an album. They want to promote something. The signs point to it, but hey, we've seen them do sessions and then do some more sessions and then wait out and songs disappear. Come on was in in the Batson sessions, like a little after stand up, but there was no album that ended up coming out in '06. So that's yeah. But that's all I got for today. Again, thank you guys for coming in. Even if you come in late, even if you're watching this on the replay and hitting the like button. Thank you, Ron from Colorado, hitting the like button. Hit the like button. Oh, that PRS was 800. Okay. Yeah, PRS has a wide range of price. You have those that are just under 1,000. You have some that are 1,500. You have some that are 4,000. They are made in the USA. They are made in the USA. It's hashtag red light management. Can we get a album, please? I'm on bended knees now. Listen, I think it's a blessing either way. Either we're gonna get an album that has Madman's Eyes, knock on wood, because They've done crazier things. They've left better songs off albums, right? But either we're gonna get this music out, or if there's no album, we're gonna get another year where this band's just gonna have extra time to learn some classics, rotate some new songs in, just as they were doing in 2021. So to me, it's a win-win. Either we're getting an album that's probably gonna have some good stuff. New album will have, I hope so. I hope it'll have Build You a Home or Build You a House, or oh, maybe it'll be Build You a Home. It'll be a finished version of Build You a House. But listen, I'm happy either way. If there's no album again, we get some stuff. Not get a new album. The new content sounds good. So that's all I got for today. Ooh, I'm yawning. Let's close out. Oops. See, I'm gonna set this up. Trying to get the outro music out of here.
I don't play.
All right, so we're not gonna I'll mute this. We are gonna do. All right, so I'm gonna leave you guys with. Let's go to session 2. And we're going to do Red Glare. Thank you guys. Again, Twitter, Instagram, Conservist34. We're going to do Red Glare. And get you guys out of here. Have a good one. Peace.